Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate SWOO edition. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. This is episode 10. Evil is just a measure of how much your choices take away other people's. Tonight, we are going to be talking about spoilers for the week for the Unlimited cards that have came out, and there is a lot of them. It feels like this is like Memorial Day weekend all over again, but we essentially are going to be having a conversation tonight about all of the new spoilers, as well as we're going to break down the Bobo Yellow deck, talk a little bit of how to build it, and all of the fanciness that kind of goes into what that deck is and how you can kind of replicate it with some of the other decks. Now, if you are joining us because we do a X-Wing podcast as well, we are not streaming our X-Wing podcast tonight. We will put that together for next week. We know, before everybody in the chat jumps in, we know fair enough that X-Wing has officially been sunset, or as of next year, it will be officially sunset with no new materials. And there's a lot of emotion. I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm a very passionate person. I was gone on the lake this weekend, and I came back and we talked about it. We already had stuff planned, and now I got to revamp what we had planned for our X-Wing show. And so we just are going to postpone that till next week to make sure that we give a fair shout out to all of the things that are X-Wing and kind of what that means for us as a podcast going forward when it means covering X-Wing. But enough of the sad stuff. We have some Star Wars Unlimited stuff tonight that is amazing. We love that game as well, and we are here to talk a little about it. And we got a guest tonight. We actually have a guest joining us in studio. So let's get to it. Please welcome to the show my co-host for tonight, Mr. JJ. Your Giants hat still sucks no matter what state you're in. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing all right. I'm stuck in Kansas City, Missouri for work. Unfortunately, I'll be here for another 2 weeks. It's been nonstop work over here, but you got to do what you got to do. And oddly enough, it's been very, very difficult to find games or places to play SWOO out here, as well as X-Wing. Being directed to like random abandoned warehouses is kind of interesting. But yeah, just glad to be back, even if it's remotely. So.
Also joining me on mic tonight is Alex, the bench warmer himself. How are you tonight, Alex?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Had a pretty relaxed weekend. I was at a store Showdown yesterday. That didn't go well, but it was fun. I wasn't expecting to do super well with the deck I brought, but it was great. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Also joining us tonight is our guest, Luke. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing wonderful tonight.
Awesome. It's a Sunday night, and it's ready for work week next week, right? Well, I heard you're off all summer.
I'm a teacher.
So you got
my last day
was easy life for the
last Thursday. Well, I'm getting married in a month, so I'm still going to be super busy.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. That's always fun.
Yes.
So Alex and I have been talking. We like to bring guests on. It's kind of a fun thing that we like to do. You're a local, I believe, of Alex's out on the east side of Michigan, which is the worst coast, by the way. And I'm just saying. So I'm going to ask: have you won a store Showdown?
I have not.
Okay, so Alex and I are both tied for finalist positions. Neither one of us have won yet. So if you came on and said, "Hey, I won," then I'd have to be like, "All right, East Coast can have the title for a little bit." But
as opposed to Clinton, who we had last week, who won the store champ.
I know. Well,
I see.
But I guess he's from Flint, so that's like more mid-Michigan.
Yeah,
ish.
Well, welcome, Luke, to the show. It's always fun to have new people on and getting new perspectives. And we've gone, like, our podcast has gone through a lot of changes, and stuff like that. And so tonight, though, we're going to be focusing on a lot of these new spoilers, and I'm excited because there's a couple of new spoilers in there. One leader specifically that we've been looking at talking about, and we just haven't been able to because we had no idea what the ability is. Now, I take it I've heard on our pre-show, I heard you used to play Destiny.
Oh yes.
All right. So
Yeah, I love Destiny.
I'm excited because I make Destiny references all the time, and neither one of these guys play Destiny. So like it'll be very fun for me as an individual because I'll be like, hey, now I've got somebody that knows Destiny and can talk about it with me. And I can mention a card and it won't matter. And what was
Right.
the card? What was the card that you had pointed out earlier? Did you ever find that card?
I looked for it, but I didn't find it. The automatically lose card in Destiny that is similar to the new final Showdown legendary card in set 2. I still haven't found it. I definitely scanned while we were talking, but I couldn't figure it out.
I don't think it matters.
I think it does. I'm excited to know what that card is because so if you listen to the live stream, I think it was 2 weeks ago, they had Jeremy on. And Jeremy actually talked a little bit about Destiny and some of the stuff. And there's also somebody that interviewed Jeremy last week that released an interview for them. I can't remember the podcast name, but I'll find it later tonight, I'm sure. And they actually talked a little bit about the stuff that Jeremy invented. So if you remember the mission cards and the different things that you could add for 1 or 2 points with your leaders, Jeremy was a big proponent of those, and that was like one of his designs.
Interesting.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar that developed through bases, maybe, or another slot later on as the game grows. So.
Right.
So if you live in Michigan, I think we have a couple more store showdowns left before the end of the year. I know we have one on the west side at Out of the Box in Zeeland. If you would like to go, it's a $20 admission ticket. I encourage you to run fun decks instead of just playing the meta unless you really want to win. Then you can trounce on all of us. I will be running I'll be running something if I play, but we do have one store showdown left that we will be playing for, and then we have pre-release weekend coming up. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm playing at least right now in 2 pre-releases, and I'm on the fence for doing 2 more. So I'm hitting one Friday night because I'm running one in Zeeland, and then I have already signed up for one on Sunday in Wyoming at All Star Gaming, and then Wolf Gaming as well as Sidekick are also running them. So they are both in the running to see if I could try to fit both those in on Saturday. Which is what I'm kind of hoping I get to do. So, and hopefully that'll make up. Well, hopefully it'll make up for some of that product shortage, right, Alex? I mean, you figure you go to 4 of them, that's 4 boxes, right? Or not 4 boxes, sorry, 1 box worth of cards. Hopefully they're good cards. So,
all you have to do is ask Alex about that, going to 4 different pre-releases, and the amazing amount of legendaries that he received.
All those super laser blasts that. Oh, I know. It's just sad. I should have bought them off you when they were super cheap.
Those were in his boxes.
Oh,
those were packs that I won. Actually, where's even in my boxes?
Oh, got it.
I pulled 1 legendary in my first 30 packs.
Oof.
Yeah, good times.
That's some rough pulls there, baby.
Yeah. Do you know how many people have just been like, yeah, dude, I heard those pre-release boxes were just juice. They just everything was hit or miss, and I'm like, oh, really? Because I opened up 30 packs, and granted it was a Vader, but like that's my only legendary I opened. So,
well, don't tell too many people that because I think a lot of people who cannot get boxes will be going to a lot of pre-release events. I know
it's true.
Around here, they're starting to sell out faster than we thought they would, be honest with you. So I'm excited either which way, though, right? Like, I'm excited. Yeah. So, and I promise we will have a SWU episode where we actually talk about, we're actually going to break down and talk about drafting. And I'm going to force Alex to have a conversation, even though he doesn't want to. I'm going to force him to have a conversation about set 2 drafting because I think it's important to talk through that. To kind of see what does set 2 offer us in drafting, because I think that was a thing that was missed before we went live for set 1. There wasn't a lot of drafting videos until after everybody went and drafted. Then everybody's like, oh, well, here's how all these cards work. Like Jin is a great draft person if you can get stuff in draft, and like Tarkin and Krennic are really good sealed leaders and stuff like that. So. But anyway, why don't we move on to our Galactic Gazette and talk about all the spoilers of the week. Welcome back to our Galactic Gazette. We have a bunch of spoilers, folks, this week. And I'm not talking just like a few. I'm talking like a butt ton of spoilers. And I'm excited. There's a lot of them in here that I'm excited for. And usually we only have like 3 people. So now we got 4. So like this is going to screw the rotation order up completely. But we're going to definitely give Luke, especially because he's the resident Destiny player on here. He gets first pick when it comes to the cards. And so the way this works, Luke, is we look at the first 3 set. You get to pick one of the cards out of the first 3, and then we'll move on to the next page, and we'll go through in rotation. And we'll give Alex second bid and JJ third bid, and I'll take fourth bid. That way I get the new card on the screen. And we'll switch it up halfway through until we get to leaders. So Luke, out of the first 3 cards, which one is your favorite? Which one are you talking up saying, hell, I want this card in my deck?
I have to admit, this is a hard decision for me because I'm a big fan of Maz. Just in general, I feel that this is exactly what that one 2-cost hero cunning unit, the Vanguard Ace, was supposed to be, or really could have been. Like not limiting it to one phase, and that's exactly what Maz is. I mean, I don't even care that she has lower stats than the Vanguard Ace. She's just, if you can get to that point where you're pulling her turn 5, and then you had two or 3 cost units that you were planning on playing turn 5, and your leader comes out and just like timing it so that you can get her and then those other units out, and hopefully if your leader stalled the opponent long enough, you really build up 3 big units and then can close out the game, especially with green. And I mean, I think her ability just works with green so much better than the yellow Vanguard Ace works with yellow, just in general.
So, fair enough. I will. So this is essentially that 1 cost unit, right? It's a 1/1 health. The only issue I have with this is like, if you play this down, I'm just gonna kill it. Like it doesn't matter what I have. Like unless it's my leader, I'm just gonna kill it before you play anything else. Like if I'm Pelp, I'm excited by this because I could kill you and draw a damn card.
Oh yeah.
Like this is like Pelp fodder right here, baby.
Yeah, this is not able to be just played like Greedo, where you could just play him whenever, and then just make them spend the resource. You really want to save this until after.
Yeah, it's almost like
after
a
people have
mid-game
used.
card. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it's almost a resource first turn because it's never going to pump up.
I do think this kind of, if you're building a green Ray deck, though, I do see this as like a last turn type play on a thing where you can play it, give it an experience token, and then at least it's got 2 health going into the next phase.
Right.
Like, and then you could get it off. Like, I mean, if you think about it, if you play it down and you're able to play another unit, and that's all you get to do, but for 1 cost, you're giving an experience token to another unit. It's probably pretty good. Like in that specific ideal scenario, but it's so niche, I just don't know if it's gonna pop or not. Alex, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like Ray would be the one like that I was thinking, just because you can give it 2 experience tokens basically before you can't use Ray's ability anymore. It's kind of weird in green because I mean they have some cheap units, but it's like don't really want to play those. I mean, you have like Alliance Dispatcher and like Bale, which are okay, but it just doesn't seem like a terribly cohesive kind of plan that you want to go for. And like card draw might be a problem a little bit too. Just continue pumping her up. I don't know. She seems okay. Maybe there's other cards in here that will make her a lot better. She is Underworld though, so you get some synergy with that.
like for me, I think this Maz would do very well in an ambush deck, mainly because you can attack immediately as soon as you play it and have that experience right off the bat. I think she works really well with decks that have ECL as well. Granted, she will probably have to come in much later, so that way you can take advantage of that. But if you can build up a solid Sentinel base to at least protect her in the time being, and then just start playing out ambush units, you're going to get a lot of use out of this. Out of her for your deck. So yeah, we'll definitely see some creative uses of her in decks.
This will be the card we could sell to JJ. He'll use this card. This will be JJ's favorite card. All right, Alex, what is the next card that you want to talk about?
Well, I got to go with Spark of Hope, right? 2 costs, green, white. Choose a unit in your discard pile. If it was defeated this phase, put it into play as a resource for uncommon. Green hero finally gets access to ramp. Kind of like an event counterpart to Super Laser Tech. It's pretty nice. You're probably not playing stuff out of your discard pile, so you just put it as a resource. And you can also choose it, right? So if you have someone on the board, you're just final ditch effort, run them into someone else, and then immediately put it in your resource pile. But it also seems very, very good with clones, because a lot of those were if you have the same named one resource or discard pile, start doing things, and that can be really scary. So if you're going to make a clone deck, I think this is something definitely to look at.
Yeah, especially because think about it this way too. If it has a smuggle aspect on it and you pay that, right? You could now get a free resource and get a smuggle. Did you lose me?
No.
Oh, sorry.
You're here. I really think looking at this one, I know everybody's been talking about it, and it's pretty much everyone feels it's super, super. You really have to compare it to the 3-cost resource, because essentially it's the same amount of cards, right? It's card out of your hand, gets you a resource, and it's exhausted. The nice thing is this one costs less, which is amazing, but it's got the limits that resupply doesn't. And so it's good. Don't get me wrong. And it's amazing that Hero finally gets access to that which Villain had access to multiple different ways.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's going to really be a deciding factor for draft if this is the only ramp card or one of the only hero ramp cards, because then you're going to take it. It's just going to be taken. With the constructed games, I think it'll be decided based on whether or not you can live with that limits and have a plan to deal with that limit as soon as you draw this into your starting hand or not, right? Because if you draw a resupply into your starting hand, you're like, hey, cool, I have turn 2 play that I already know what it's going to be.
Sure, I think that's fair. So this is one of the cards I feel I want to talk about, right? Because I think this card has a lot of play, right? Because of the fact that it gives you different roads. Yes, if you get this and resupply in your opening hand, are you going to resource one of them? And I think the big thing becomes is this gives you that secondary option that's never a dead card, though, right? This card is a great ramp card, even towards later in, unless you're playing an insane aggro deck you don't need ramp for. But this allows you to put smuggle cards into your resource. This card allows you to play a unit turn 1, swing with it, kill something, or if it's a sentinel for whatever reason, do all those things, and then or somebody decides that they're a blue deck and they're like, screw you, I'm just going to power the dark side your unit. You just play that turn, boom, you go throw another 1-cost unit down, or I don't know. I think this card has insane. In my opinion, this card is very high in the value chain, personally. But I do agree it could be. It could present problematic challenges, but
It is a tempo loss when you play it, though, because like instead of playing a unit, you're playing a 2-cost event. So it's not like the greatest card ever printed, but I think it's pretty solid.
I mean, but it's the same way as is the same thing, Alex. Though as resupply,
Resupply.
it's tempo loss.
Yeah, which I don't run in my decks because it's a
Okay.
tempo loss, and I don't like it.
All right. Well, you're one of the few that don't like it as much. I agree with you as well. I'm not a tempo. I don't use it in most of my decks either. But
Do you
This
run
card
it for
f-
4 in a green pulp deck? That's the real question. Because you can choose when to kill yours. And I have a card that costs 14, and I need to ramp.
yes.
Mhm.
So the answer
So
is
if I
yes.
can
Alex.
have 12 ramp cards in my deck.
So do you want to know where so we tested this? You want to know where this tests really awesomely into?
Hmm.
100 double green deck.
And more
Hmm.
clones.
Yep.
Yeah.
And by the time
Yeah.
you're hitting that 4th resource, if you could keep that board controlled, great. And then if it doesn't, you just use this later on in life. It's inconsequential when you use this in that deck. Like for 4 resources in that deck, it's like stupid. So anyway, let's move on. Alec or JJ, you get the
Rogue
fickle,
class.
the fickle mercenary.
Yes, fickle mercenaries.
Which
So
you
we
read
got-
the card and we'll explain what that means in a minute.
Yeah, so we got a 2-cost mercenary gunship here coming in with 3 attack, 2 health. Comes with the action 4 cost. Take control of this unit. Any player may use this ability here. It kind of sucks that they used a rogue class starfighter for this particular mercenary gunship. The disrespect, I'm telling you. But I don't know if there's any really negative attachments that you could play on this that would really make it useful. I mean,
It's a
sure, it's a
3/2 for
cheap
2.
card for 3/2, but beyond that, you're if you're forcing your opponent to spend 4 resources to take this particular ship, so that way they can use it. I mean, sure, I guess that's a plus. You're making them spend that. But yeah, I mean, I guess there might be some utility for it.
So I will tell you, you know what this card sucks with? Against ramp decks.
Yeah.
Have 4 resources they don't care about spending. You know what this card is really good against? Aggro decks. You know what I've lost this ship more times than I care to say. We'll put it this way. And to go through the fickle mercenary reference, and Luke, I know you know what this is. That was what was that? Was that a 3 cost? That was a 3.
1 cost.
So that was a 1 cost. Oh man, 1 cost.
1 cost, and then you pay 2 to take control of it.
Yeah.
It was Convergence, Star
Yeah.
Wars Destiny.
Yeah, it was like we all were like, "Oh, that's a stupid card," and then people started
Mhm.
putting it in their deck, and then you're like, "Oh, wait, I mean, I could 1 cost this, and if you take it back, it only costs me 2, so I just take it right back from you." I mean, this is like, and this goes against any deck that does not want to care if you take it because you can just spend the resources to get it back. Now, I will tell you though, like this doesn't feel like a main deck card to me. This feels more like a sideboard card, but that's just me because I don't want. I put it to you this way: I put this in 3 decks, and I felt very sad that I had to spend my 4 resources to steal it back after my opponent stole it from me. And then it's like, oh, and then it's just a feel bad. And then like we did that, like me and my son did that, and like he did that to me 3 turns in a row. And yes, I got to swing with it for 3 turns, but still, that felt like a really bad tempo loss because they were just continuing on their climb. And
The thing about the fickle mercenaries is that when you paid for the steal on them, yeah, they were only 1 cost. When you pay for the steal on them, it shuts them down after they've activated because it removes the dice, and
Yes.
that was a Destiny thing. That does not happen here because if you steal it when it's ready, you get to use it. If you steal it when it's dead, you don't get to use it. But why would you ever steal it when it's dead? So, I mean, I feel like this is a great card for drafted sealed because that's a great first turn play and trying to, A, do as much damage to their base, and then B, kill it off before you get to 4 would be amazing, or kill it off as long as you have initiative on 4 or whatever it might be.
Would you guys ever traitorous the ship?
No,
So now I pay
It's a cheaper way
5
to get
instead
it,
of
right?
4. No.
it's a more expensive way, and
Okay.
also you spend a card.
That's true. Yeah.
I like this card a lot. I think the 3/2 in space really trades well into a lot of stuff, and if they're not playing space cards, then it's just like cool 3 damage for 2, which not a lot of units do that, right? But man, it could take out some of the cards that you really need against like an aggro, right? If you're going against Sabine, they tend to play a lot of space units just because they're cheap and they do things. So you like trade well into the X-wings, and just in general, like it just trades off, which is great. I love it, and like red 3, has 3 health. You're trading that for red 3, which is like nothing. It's great.
Mhm.
Fair enough. All right, let's keep moving. That way we get through all of them tonight. I get to pick the next one. The one I really want, I'm not gonna pick because it's a legendary. I'll let you all cover that one. I am ecstatic about pillage though, because I get to discard 2 cards from their hand, and it's a red, and I'm so excited by this because this is the sideboard for my red pulp deck, and I could just say, middle finger to you, baby, because you're a control deck. Let me throw this in there, and when we hit that 4 cost, I don't need to play board state because you're just going to delete it. I'm just going to throw away your super laser blast and your dumb vigilance. That's what I'm going to do, and give you the middle or your if I get your restock, that's even tastier. It is a common card. It is a 4 cost, so I think it has somewhat limited play. I think this has great play though in draft, like draft and sealed. Like I actually think this is a really good card in draft and sealed. And I lean more towards that because we actually just did a sealed event at my local store last Wednesday, which was super fun. But like I forgot how much fun sealed was. I ran Thrawn because I didn't want to run Krennic because I just felt that it was boring. So I ran Thrawn and thought that was going to be great. I ran Thrawn blue without any legendaries. That was amazing. And anyway, I did not do very well. We'll put it that way. I got 0 wins for the night, but I had a lot of fun playing Thrawn. But anyway, long story short is a lot of the cards that did things and did work for against me and different things like that was stuff like this. And I really think that this card is something that Red needed to help it maintain viability against some specific decks. Thoughts?
Yeah, remember when I was talking about long time ago about how a possibility of running like Sabine hand destruction?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just got better. That's kind of scary. Hand destruction's never good for a card game.
No.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought when I looked at this card. I'm like, man, Alex is talking about a Sabine hand destruction, and man, this goes right well into it, and it's cheap enough that you can run this several times. I mean, talk about taking the options out of your opponent's hands. This can be really powerful, especially if you get cheap units early and your opponent is just trying to ramp, and you essentially take out the unit cards that they're trying to ramp up to. I mean, this just has a lot of control, so it's really good.
I have to admit, I know why they kept it to a 6 cost discard 2 in set 1, and they switched to a 4 cost discard 2 in set 2, and it's got to be because of smuggling. Just smuggling is the response to this. You have to have some cards that you can play that are not in your hand, and so smuggling is the answer to card hand destruction. I don't know, if this is the end all be all for every matchup, but I think smuggling is the response. It's like, hey, we need something to turn off the stuff that's not smuggling, so we can balance this a little bit.
Yep, fair enough. All right, so we're gonna go back. Luke, you get to pick a card. Which card are you gonna pick?
Oh gosh, I'm going unrefusable offer. I know It's crazy, but um, I'm doing it because of a different reason. I I'm not a fan of this card. Compared to Change of Heart, which is essentially the same thing, right? Except Change of Heart, 6 cost, so it's 4 more cost. You don't have to kill the unit though, but then the unit ends up dead anyway. It's it's just to me, it'd be really difficult to identify when you would want to use unrefusable offer over the Change of Heart.
So I could tell you when you play your Maze, your Maz, or however you say her name, I play this bounty on her and kill her, and then she comes in ready, and then I play all my units and get experience tokens, and then kill her off. Just so you know, like
she's
that's
a
what I,
4/4.
like, you know,
Yeah, but she gets killed at the end of that turn.
yeah, true.
Right?
Yeah. So this is better to me. Some of this is a little bit better than that Change of Heart, because Change of Heart that goes back to them. So I agree with you. I don't think it's
Yeah.
like an amazing card. Like it's not the best thing in the world, but I don't know, and I think this is more of a late game card
Mhm.
personally.
Well, that's I think that's why I go with Change of Heart, because Change of Heart's already late game, right? Change of Heart is like, hey, you were about to win. I'm gonna change this so that I win.
I
This
Change
is
of
not
Heart
a card like that. I feel.
when Mike and I were playing yesterday at the store showdown. He had a Devastator, and I'm like, change a heart, your Devastator. And then he's just like, no, I'm going to change a heart it back.
Oh, that's
And then I'm like,
hilarious.
oh god, waylay. We'll do that later.
Oh
We'll deal
man,
with this another time.
goodness.
But change a heart can like win games like that. It's not like a telegraphed kind of thing, because this is pretty telegraphed, right?
Right.
Although like bounty decks seem kind of interesting, and that might be pretty good if you throw it up on like Obi-Wan, because like I think that'd be great, right? Because you're going to kill that Obi-Wan anyways.
Oh,
and then you
yeah.
take control of it. You got a 4/6 Sentinel, so they have to hit into it, and it dies at the end, so you get 2 free experience points.
And you get the defeat bonus.
Yeah. So
That's a
like
good
it's
point.
good against outing things like that. Any like when defeated bonus is pretty nice.
K2SO.
And Sentinel units are pretty nice to take control of.
Ooh, that actually makes me think, because you get to collect bounties when they're captured with some
Yes.
units. So yeah, if when defeated bonus, this would be good against, because you can capture it, collect the bounty, and then it defeats it without actually requiring and defeating for the bounty.
Yep. Oh yeah, like one of those Holocron people or whatever that are the 1/4 with grit. And so okay, so I have a question. So now we're gonna tangent a little bit, right? So if you play it on that guy, and you kill it, does it get all the damage on it as grit, and then all of a sudden, like it comes back on your side with all its damage? It doesn't say that, right?
No, when you play it, it doesn't play with damage.
Okay.
Yeah. You'd just be playing it as if like you played it, right? So
Yeah.
no damage. Yeah, like I think it's fine. I don't think it's like meta warping until someone figures out a way of ruining things. But I don't think it's as bad as you guys were saying. I have Snoke. I'm gonna do Snoke. It's my turn.
Oh wait, hold on, JJ. I'm just kidding. It's Alec. You can have.
I got Snoke. Snoke, Supreme Leader Snoke. He's an 8-cost blue black 6/6. He is a force and an official. He is a legendary, and each enemy non-leader unit just gets -2/-2, which is so cool to me. I love this. I'm not sure if it's great. 8 cost is really high, but man, does that allow you to force your opponent to play some high health units, and if they don't have high health units, they're kind of screwed.
So can I all right. So in specific decks, and I'm just gonna I guess maybe I keep gravitating towards Kira, and I probably should stop doing that. But like in a Kira deck, this is a really amazing card because there's so many things you can do with it that, and it's an official, but there's so many things you can just do with this stupid card in Kira that like stops them from taking your units out and makes your end game move from, let's say, 2 turns up to like 1 turn. It just like, if you cannot kill this thing, it's just insane. And with that stupid first light ship, it adds grit to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm giving you -2 and I get grit. Oh, you can't do 6 damage in 1 turn? So be it. And it gives us like another option for that. What's the 6 cost that just kills anything, basically, any unit?
Rivals Fall.
There you go. Like it just makes Rivals Fall so much necessary. But the problem is if you're not playing against like blue, what is there that can take this out without 2 units? Right?
Palpatine. No, like unit Palpatine, not leader.
Yeah.
Okay. There
Unit
you go.
Palpatine just deals 6 damage.
Yeah.
And overwhelming barrage kills it and all these other things. But
yeah, there's ways around it. But it's just like he's such a heat magnet if you have to drop him, right? Because it really curtails what you and your opponent can do. Like all of a sudden, your Luke unit now has like 5 health, so it's vulnerable to takedown, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it.
yeah, I think it's a really good legendary personally, and I think it'll see a lot of play. So I plan on collecting 6 of them if I can.
I think it would look really cool in a hyperfoil.
Oof. Yeah.
Agreed.
Giant chair.
Yeah.
So how much will you give me if I get one of those, Alex?
Like $20.
Damn it. No, you're out of luck then.
I love that it's Force 6/6 legendary 8 costs, and I can't wait to play it with blue red. Blue red is easily my favorite combination of colors. Luke blue red is my go-to right now. That's where I placed in the top 8. In the one of the 2, store championships I went to, I can see this just being an amazing card going forward. It's one of those bombs. You can put him, you can put Emperor Palpatine, you could put Dooku. It's one of those bombs, just like Palpatine, Dooku, and I'm assuming whoever else is going to be a legendary Force user at the high cost. Just like Luke, sorry.
I was to say, what else likes that? That Palpatine Returns card just loves that snow card.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you discarded it out of my hand? Oh, guess what? I'm just gonna make it return, baby. And on turn 5 too, right? Isn't that crazy? On turn 5.
Yep. Good times. It's not
So Alex,
that returned in Snoke.
Alex, our goal is how do we get that to work consistently? How can we make that a deck that is a one-trick pony that only does that thing?
Oh boy.
That's your goal. That's your goal, baby. I'm telling you.
Self-discard.
Right.
All right, let's move on. JJ, what one do you want next?
I'll take Resourceful Pursuers. It's a 5 cost yellow aspect. Coming in with 5 attack and 6 health. Comes with Saboteur. Pretty decent card. It's definitely a high health card for 5 points. It's about the middle of the pack in terms of attack and health on there, but having that nice Saboteur on there helps you deal with a lot of different decks that are focusing on giving out shields and stuff. I definitely like this card a lot. It's something that, if you're looking for like a filler piece inside of your deck for yellow, you can definitely consider to put in there. Definitely decent for its cost.
5 attack on Saboteur is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Because
my main thing is though is that you're not, at least as of the first wave, right? Like you're not running into a lot of, unless you're playing against like Luke, you're not running into very shield heavy like decks, right? But since that's going to become more common with some of the new leaders that come out, you'll probably get more use of it out of there. But honestly, if we're looking just for like just quick, simple, or like cheaper saboteur units that are out there, you might get a little more play out of them since they're cheaper and it allows you to play other like attachments to go with it or other units that can help you out. But still, for 5 costs, this is pretty good. So
it's a bounty hunter. Like, I just want to point that out. Like,
Mhm.
that's what makes this card really good, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, just bypassing Sentinels is really good in general.
yeah,
Especially if you have like Emperor's Royal Guards and you're just like, whatever, I'm going to kill the official behind them. Now it no longer has Sentinel.
I don't know. I think this card's really good though. Like, I don't think this is a sleep. This becomes how do you include this in deck? We're gonna talk a little bit later about Boba Yellow, but this feels like if Boba Yellow continues to be a fighting force next set, this feels really good in that because it doesn't care about underworld themes like Cad Bane does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a very early pick in draft.
Yeah. Like,
if you got a yellow, you go for Zuckuss first, if you're a villain. But if you're not a villain, this works with Yellow Hero. This works amazing with, what are the 2 yellow heroes in this?
Oh, Mando. You got Mando.
Mando's in the starter, but he's not in the packs. It doesn't work with
Lando.
It doesn't work with what's her name's ability, right? Because she has to pay 4 costs or less, right?
But yeah, you can't do it with Fennec.
I mean, it's probably one of the reasons why they so aggressively statted these guys is because it wasn't able to be done with some of those other things.
You can still ECL this stupid thing out, baby.
Oh yeah, ECL Saboteur would be insane against shields.
Yep. Oh, you have a Mandalorian guard or whatever they call that thing, that Sentinel, and has 1 million experience on it. Yeah, I don't care. See ya. All right, next one. I'm gonna take Final Showdown because it's a Gambit card, and I'm a gambler and I like gambling. I will tell you, it is a legendary. I will tell you, this is another card. So if you get this card and you say it's trash and you don't want it, just sell it to me or trade it to me. I'm 100% collecting 6 of each of the double aspect cards.
Are you sure that this isn't called Final Moment from Legacies number 110?
Is that what it is? Is it in
Legacies? It's in Legacies. That's why I didn't find it before the thing, because I was just checking from the last set earlier and I didn't even get into Legacies.
Oh my gosh. Holy crap. That's an old card.
It is.
So can you read the description on that card? Sorry, that's a Destiny card.
The Star Wars Destiny card, 4 cost, Final Moment. It's a red hero card. Ready each of your characters. After the action phase ends, you lose the game.
Yep. So in Destiny, by the way, that I don't think we ever saw that work. That was like never really a card that ever did anything. Just so you know ahead of time before I tell you that this is a good card. I think this is a different game though.
It is.
So I will say this will be very good if your meta does not play cards like Outmaneuver, because Outmaneuver just ruins everybody's day. And I will say, so I'm gonna wax poetic a little bit. The reason I like this card a lot is because of the fact that you could just resource this. Nobody has to know you have it. You could keep it if you really want it, right? And so if people want to tech around it, let them do that. Go ahead. You tech around this and you create weak points for me from the rest of my list. That's why I think this is a really good card. I think that it could also win games. I won't say that this can't. Especially, like, again, we're going to talk about Yellow Bulba. Like, I will tell you there's a lot of times with Yellow Bulba against other aggro decks where we're down to the wire. We're down to the last, 3 health on each base. If I had this card, it's just an auto win. Like, it's just boom. I get to win this churn. And I only need to have a fire spray active to do that. And so while I will say this card is definitely niche, I think this card has a lot more playability than it looks on its thing, and the thing it will suffer to most is mill, right? And it'll suffer if you can't create a board presence.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's the double yellow suffers against green and blue, healing, stabilizing, and this prevents a stabilization. Like the games where you go to 29 hit points and the opponent is at 0 to 5, and then you turn it around and you win that game, which happens. This card prevents that. It's like, no, you're not going to turn this around. I'm going to just finish you off now that I'm ahead. This might only ready 2 or 3. Heck, you could ready 1 unit and win this game. That's the same as Change of Heart, and that's why I feel like Change of Heart is just so good. And what I mentioned earlier about the bounty. This changes the game. This says, hey, you took a game that you were stabilizing and you were going to prevent me from winning, and I'm just going to make sure that I win anyway.
I feel like this is anti-Snoke Tuck. You can play before Snoke comes out, and we're like, "Yep, you lost the game, and Snoke can't come out."
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, man, it really depends against your opponent's deck, right? Like, you can't main deck this. You have to put it aside because, like, if your opponent's really good at controlling the board, this does nothing. Like, I mean, maybe like Luke was saying, like, you dropped 1 unit after they passed or claimed or something, and that wins you the game. But I feel like the opportunity cost for this card is so high that you really have to make sure that you're either like building something around it, or like it's in your side, or you play it in your deck because it's silly. That's something I would do.
Honestly, I don't think I'd ever play this in anything but a double yellow deck.
Yeah.
And it's because of the challenges double yellow has. And this one fits those challenges.
Yeah. All right, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving on. So we're gonna break up the monotony a little bit, and I'm gonna say Alex gets to go for this one first.
I really wanted Inspired.
Okay, all right. You can have it. All right.
I actually did. I mean, Luke's my name, and Luke's my favorite character, and this is like built for Luke Green. Inspired Mentor, 2 costs, command heroism, attached to a non-vehicle unit. Attached unit gains on attack when defeated. Give an experience token to another unit. It's only a +1/+1, but 2 costs. Just ramp it up. I mean, I feel like it's a perfect ramp card as long as you don't have that control deck just killing off the unit immediately. It's got the problems that all the upgrades have, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like, slap that on a Luke leader and give him a lightsaber and just go to town giving out experience and shield tokens to whoever, and then when he dies you still give 1 out. I do like this card a lot. I'm a little bit iffy because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of like anti-upgrade things around. But like just giving out +1/+1s every time you attack, and then also when you die, like at the very worst you give out 1 experience for 2, and whoever they killed gets a +1/+1, so that might matter. Like at the very worst. At the very best, just start swinging.
Yeah, I think too. The other positive piece of this, isn't there something that lets us dig through our discard pile for upgrades? Isn't it? It's like a green. It's a green card too, isn't it? Isn't it neutral?
It's either green or blue.
Okay. Well, it works with Luke. How about that? There you go. I mean, like,
oh yeah,
whatever. It works with Luke. So, I don't know. I agree with you. I think like anti-upgrade tech is bad for this, but like at the exact same token, like what does mid-range Luke want to do, and what does it do good against, and what does it not? And so when you're playing against things it's not going to do good against, you just resource it and call it a day. So I'm very thankful this does not have a smuggle cost. I'm just gonna like tell you that right now, because this with a smuggle cost would be broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty annoying.
All right, well, we got some really good cards. Like we got some really, really good cards here. Like there's one card, the artwork alone is just amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll keep the same order for the rest of the podcast. I don't have to think about this. Alex, you're next.
I gotta do Swoop Down. That card's nuts. That's probably the one you're talking about with the artwork too.
Yes.
It's a 1-cost yellow attack with a space unit. It gains Saboteur, and it can attack ground units for this attack. If it attacks a ground unit, it gets +2/+0, and the defender gets -2/-0, which is nuts.
It's so good.
I mean, let alone just getting the Saboteur is nice, because weird rule, like niche things that happen. If they have a ground sentinel and you're attacking a ground unit, you have to attack the ground sentinel. So this bypasses that as well, which is probably the intent of the card. But it can get around like Bright Hope and kill like a red 3, right? Oh man, this is just so cool. Just like essentially a 4 attack swing, right? Like they're not hitting you back terribly hard, and you just also hit really hard. And man, if you're a fire spray, you're just swinging in for 7.
Yep,
and that kills like Luke unit, and that's rough.
It kills Boba Fett leader.
That too.
Well, it kills lots of things, man.
Yeah.
Like for me,
Crazy.
this card alone is something that I want as much as possible in a space heavy deck. This card really helps you enable a space heavy deck now, especially for yellow, because you can help control like some of the key units that are in like on your opponent's side on the ground unit. You can just basically put a bunch of sentinel on the ground and then just focus heavy on your space. And if you have a problematic card that comes in, you can basically use Swoop Down, take out that card using one of your space units, and continue to hammer your opponent's base if they don't have a good space presence that basically forces you to engage them. So this absolutely is an ideal card for a space heavy deck. I cannot wait to get this into my decks. So good.
The artwork's amazing.
My fiance started out playing this game where she was doing Boba Fett blue with just all space units. Her favorite thing was to do the oh gosh, what's it called? The space unit that can attack ground units.
Oh, strafing gunship.
Strafing gunship, a bunch of other things, and outmaneuver all day long. Outmaneuver as much as possible.
Yeah.
And this really plays into that tactic beautifully. Like this is hey, oh, you liked doing this? Do it better. And it's just so good.
I mean, if you have a Xanadu blood, you're swinging in for 8.
Mm-hmm.
And you exhaust a unit or a resource on attack if you return like an underworld.
So good.
But just swinging
So
in
good.
for 8 is just crazy.
Insane.
And you have 6 health, like the back of the -2 attack. So I like this card a lot. You'd have to make sure your ratio for space units is solid
Mm-hmm.
and like justifiable for your deck. But like if you need it in your deck, man, that just it sucks being on the other side of that.
Yeah, I don't see a world where this card is not over. Like this card is undercosted in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is better than shoot first. Like, hands down.
Yeah.
I think it's the new surprise strike. Like
For
pretty
what?
standard. Like, I mean, just as far as it'll be in most decks. If they're playing yellow, you should expect surprise strike. If they're playing yellow, you should probably expect this Swoop Down unless they're only ground. Like It's only possibility.
Man, you better take care of those spaceships while they're there.
And you better take out those spaceships, or else, surprise.
All right, JJ, which one do you want?
I'll take it, the unlicensed headhunter. So we got a 2-cost red aspect coming in with 3 attack and 2 health. Comes with Saboteur, and it reads: while this unit is exhausted, it gains bounty. Heal 5 damage from your base. When this unit is defeated or captured, your opponent collects this bounty. Definitely decent for its cost. It's a cheap space unit that you can have on there for red. You can get around the bounty by just throwing it at your enemies. Probably like higher attack units, so that way they can collect the bounty on that. But still, having cheap space units is really good to get damage early on, especially if your opponent's not is focusing more on the ground aspect more. This can definitely do a lot of damage over time very quickly. Having 3 attack for 2 costs right off the bat, that's a really good way to get ahead of the game for your deck. So yeah.
Can I say this looks like a duck? Like it actually looks like a duck. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, I didn't see it before. Yeah, it does.
Sorry.
I don't see it.
It's the end. It looks like a beak.
I don't know. It just needs a little bit of teeth, and it'll just be the Nashta pup, you know. But the Saboteur is kind of interesting for that. I don't know. Like a 3/2 is fine for 2. You know, we were just talking about that on the mercenary one. It's just, man, if that like dies the turn you play it, your opponent just heals 5.
Well,
Like,
remember, yeah, you're right. Because when you play it, it's exhausted. So
yeah, which is fine early game because they probably don't have 5 damage on their base, right? Or they shouldn't. I don't know what happened there, but the longer this game goes, the worse that gets.
Yep.
Unless you could find a way of ambushing it out with like a Fennec deck or something, it'd be kind of interesting.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, sure, it counters some really key cards like the Shielded Tie Advanced, but it exhausts when it attacks as well, which means that you cannot attack units and use that Saboteur. You have to use that Saboteur to attack the base, and as soon as you do so, they have a chance to heal the base. So I feel like I agree with Alex. Like, early game, sure, you could find uses for it, but I don't see this as being anywhere near as useful as the other headhunter that we already have, even though I love that we have 2 headhunters.
My C95s, baby. Bring them back.
All right, the last one on the screen is Vam Brace Flamethrower. We also had a card very much similar to this in Destiny, but it was a 2-cost if I remember right. And anyway, This is attached to a non-vehicle unit. It's a 3-cost red +1/+1 item weapon armor upgrade. On attack, you may deal 3 damage divided as you choose among enemy ground units. I think this is a decent card. I don't think this is bad personally, but I just don't think it's like again, it's going to suffer to the upgrade removal type thing. So, but other than that, it's nice because it can help take out the onesie units, the units that have the 1 damage left on each of them or something like that. That you're like, oh, stupid unit couldn't die. It helps a little bit with that. Like Fifth Brothers Fallen Lightsaber just feels better than this personally. Like,
oh yeah,
but that's just me. It does the same thing, but that's a force unit. This could be on anybody. Notice it's not also Mandalorian, so you cannot dig for this.
Right. I was gonna say the same thing about 3-cost unit or 3-cost upgrade. It's gonna be the first thing stripped with any upgrade removal, right? They're not gonna take the shield. They're not gonna take the experience. They're gonna take this. Also, if it's gonna be the first one stripped, if that's the sacrifice you get for that 3-cost upgrade, you want it to be like a +3/+3, like the Jedi lightsaber, like the Sith lightsaber. And that's what I think the Sith, the other ones of the same. Granted, this is neutral. You can put it in any Mandalorian deck. You could put it in any non-Mandalorian deck. You can, you know, play this with any unit, right, in the game currently. If you take the other color for your base or whatever. So it's, I mean, it's not. I feel like it's a little underpowered, but it's got its uses, and you can play it in anything. So that's where the sacrifice that
You can just deal the 3 damage outright
Mhm.
to like 1 unit, so anything 3 health or less just instantly dies. It doesn't have to be the one you're attacking,
Mhm.
as long as they're ground. So that's pretty nice. It's kind of like Seventh Sister in that respect. I think it's solid. Uh, I mean, it's funny if you have like a Chariot deck and you just slap that on him. Now he's just really running amok, but then they play Rival's Fall and he dies immediately.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you can run like a red yellow deck, and use it in preparation for like Final Showdown, for instance. Actually, no, never mind. Well, I mean, you could pay the aspect penalty for Final Showdown, but just having the ability to use this twice in a turn, I mean, that could be potentially 6 damage they can do to units, assuming that in a perfect world where your unit that has this doesn't get eliminated immediately, or the upgrade itself isn't eliminated. The potential for you to deal that free damage, that can really help get past Sentinel, that can help get past like dealing damage to some of those key units that are out there on your opponent's side of the board there. It has definitely its uses there to just deal free damage. And it's a good distraction, right? You put if you put this on a unit that's like a throwaway unit that you're trying to tempt your opponent to come in and focus on that unit versus one of your other critical units there. This is also a pretty good card to do that too. So it does have some of its uses there. Sure, there are better cards out there, but I think we'll see some play for this in some of those decks.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't. Whatever. It is what it is. I don't think it's that good personally, but
Right.
we'll see. We'll see where it comes into. Now, so we're gonna Luke. We're gonna go ahead and give you. You're gonna get the next pick, but I'm gonna make, just so you know, if you pick that middle card, which I will not name, but if you pick it, you have to make the Wookiee noise, because that's a required. Whoever does that card is making that Wookiee noise. I don't care.
I'm not gonna pick it, and I'm still gonna make the Wookiee noise for
No.
obvious reasons. Oh, Chewie is me. This is my play style right here. Look at this. 8 costs. He's a bomb, right? He's got grit. He kills somebody when you play him. He's not a legendary. He's a rare. Look at that smuggle cost. What did I say that I love playing? Blue, red. Smuggle it in red. Only for 1 extra, not 2 extra. And I think that the smuggle cost 1 extras are going to be really identifying in how often things get smuggled, because 2 extra cost is an aspect penalty cost, right? For smuggling. 1 extra cost is not. That's half the aspect penalty cost, and that's huge.
And it's because you're essentially just using the card that you're gonna bring out, right? Like
Exactly.
It's a nil cost.
Right. The fact that you can smuggle him means that you don't have to hold on to him on turn 6 when you have 7 resources, or turn 1 when you have 2. Like, you put him in the smuggling, you hope that you get another one you could play on 8, but you could still play him on 9, even if you lose everything, unless you get taken out by that 2-cost screen guy who says, oh, let's just kill all your smuggle cards. I just love this card in every way. This is like perfect for my play style, and that's what I'll stay with.
Is there even an underworld mechanic in Hero right now? Like, because
There's Wookiee.
well, okay, all right, but there's not any leader or anything that we have so far. Baby Han Red. This works really well with Han Red, which we haven't seen yet, but we know it's coming. I wonder if Han Red's going to have an underworld mechanic. This card is amazing. I love this card. Like, I don't know. Like, this card's just hands down, like,
It's got takedown in a body, in a 410 body.
Yeah.
With grit.
Yeah.
I love Wookiees. And you just slot them right there in the Wookiee deck. And then you play the yellow Chewbacca, and then you have leader Chewbacca, and you have 3 Chewbaccas, and you confuse people who are new at this game. It'll be great.
yeah. And you have to go when they do it. You have to go. Which Chewbacca do you want to hit?
Right. I love this card. It's so cool.
It's a 410. It's a 410 for
What
Christ's
with
sake.
grit
Yeah, like what the heck?
with
Yeah.
takedown built in, and you can smuggle it in for 9
So
Good, man.
for rare.
Golly.
Alex, are you making a Wookiee deck with
Yes,
Chewbacca?
I would love to
No,
make
hold
a
on.
Wookiee.
Are you making it with Chewbacca, or are you going to make it with a different leader?
I might have 2. I'm looking into Fennec with Wookiees, as I was talking about last week, but also like Chewbacca leader. Obviously, is a Wookiee and very scary, especially with Tarful. For those who don't remember, Tarful is the one that, like, if you don't kill the Wookiee, it just deals damage back to another card. And that is not when you attack the Wookiee, it's just anytime it takes combat damage. So when you punch something and don't die, you deal that damage to someone else. It's disgusting. So that'd be really good on this Chewbacca.
Mhm.
I'm excited. I love Wookiees.
All right, Alex, which is your pick then?
Well, I kind of have to right after going about that. Except for I can't do a Wookiee noise.
No,
so I'm
you have
sorry.
to.
I
You
can't.
have.
I
You
really
have
can't.
to. You have to try. We have to.
I'll substitute his
No.
Wookiee noise.
No.
Thanks, JJ. I'm gonna go with that. So this one is Let the Wookiee Win. It is a 2-cost yellow-white. And it is your opponent chooses one. Either ready up to 6 resources, or you ready a friendly unit. If it's a Wookiee, you can attack with it, and it gets +2/+0. It seems just really fun. There's a fair amount, like if you have like Gentle Giant, right? Heat cost. Well, I mean, okay, so you want to 4-cost something if you're at 6 resources, but if you have 8 resources and you play Gentle Giant for 6, and then you could be like, cool, I want to play Let the Wookiee Win. Do you want to let him attack in for 4 and then have damage on him so he starts healing all my units? Or do you want me to ready up the 6 resources I just paid for him and just have a whole nother turn? It's super cool. I like this. I feel like that artwork is controversial because I think people either really hate it or like think it's okay. I'm a little bit confused by the hands, but I like this. I want to make a Wookiee deck.
Okay, so is there anything in Hero? Is this the first trick Hero card we've seen?
That's what I was about to figure out
Oh.
because I know Jabba, interacts with
Mhm.
tricks, but he's a villain. So I can't remember. I don't think there's anything that specifically interacts with tricks in Hero. So I didn't even bother mentioning that it's a trick card.
Oh, and I just wonder, right? And so at least Jabba isn't like you get to play things for free, but basically every trick event costs 1 less. So like I won't lie and tell you that this isn't like a horrible card in a Jabba deck, because this is a 3-cost card in a Jabba deck. So
Well, when you have Jabba unit out, yeah.
Bamboozle's a trick hero.
Right, but
Okay.
nothing interacts with tricks, right?
True.
yeah, right now it does not. We don't know what Red Han's going to be like. Red Hero Han could do tricks. It could do Underworld. Maybe it does both. Like, I mean, can we get a more powerful Han? Is that what we're gonna get? Like, is that what it's gonna be? We're gonna get this crazy, what I would call Baby Han, and Baby Han just comes out and does stupid things with Wookiees. That was the secret sauce they haven't talked about for 2 months.
Hey, there are Wookiees in villains. There is Kirstanson, and
There is.
Mhm.
that would be kind of nasty to have them ready up and play and attack.
Yeah,
Especially
is he-
give it its ability.
Yep. I like it. JJ, what's the last one on the page here?
So the last one we have here is Heroic Resolve here, coming at a 1 cost. It's a red and hero aspect and reads attached unit gains action. With 2 resources, defeat a Heroic Resolve on this unit. Attack with this unit, it gains +4 attack, and it gains Overwhelm for this attack. And then it also provides a +1/+1 as a innate attachment for this one. So this is actually really good. I like this a lot, especially for those really aggro decks. It allows you to get in there really quick, especially with Overwhelm. If you're able to attack a unit that's already on low health, being able to push that additional damage onto a base can be really, really strong, especially early on in the game. And your opponent will have to try to find a way to deal with it. They'll either have to spend a turn to try to get rid of this particular upgrade, or spend a turn trying to get rid of that unit. But in the meantime, you're going to have that big boost of an attack that can go right through enemies. Can be really, really good, actually. I like this a lot.
I think it's pretty solid. It seems like you're pretty lukewarm on that, Chris. But
Yeah.
I mean, if your opponent takes the initiative, you just pay 3 for a +4 and Overwhelm.
Right. Yeah, I like this.
+5, I guess, but
I like this one better than the flamethrower, and it's all because of the cost. Flamethrower, you have to pay 3. This one, you can pay 3 and immediately get it. Yeah, if your opponent takes initiative.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with that piece of it. Like, I think it's better than that other one. I don't know. Like, I don't like upgrades personally very much, so it's a lot harder for me to buy into this right now. And I don't know. I played it. I've done play testing against some other stuff, and we do get some use out of upgrades. I don't know. We'll see. I like the idea behind this. Maybe this will synergize with other things that we have coming.
really good on Chariot.
I was gonna say Chariot is like the
Chariot,
place to put it. Chariot gets shut down by Sentinels almost all the time. This allows him to go through the Sentinel.
And he's gonna, live long enough to actually take advantage of having that. So.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to take Embo. Embo is a 3-cost blue 3/4 underworld and a bounty hunter. I like that it's a bounty hunter. When this unit completes an attack, if the defender was defeated, heal 2 damage from a unit. So the first question I'm going to ask Alex here. If I attack with him and somebody does 4 damage back, but I kill that unit, do I immediately heal the 2 damage and not die?
No.
Okay,
you have to
thank you.
live through the unit completes the attack. It's just like Ezra.
Okay, just want to make sure, because I just want to, I know that's going to be a rules thing that'll come out at some point, so I figure we just state it and get it off the record now.
Maybe on Carabast you can do that, but you can't do that in a real game.
Yeah,
Well, I've not played it on Carabast yet. I'm just asking the question.
Full of bugs.
Okay. Anyway, so I think for a 3/4 body, which is an underworld unit and a bounty hunter, I like this. This does interact with that yellow again. Like, it feels like they're giving us a lot of blue and yellow stuff that is just like really, really good again. But this for 3 costs, I think this is a very, very fair card. Like, I like it. I don't know. Usually when I play this, I don't need to heal 2 damage right away, but I guess if you're an aggro deck, I do. So I would rate this card like kind of middle of the road. Like, I would not say I would never play this, but I think for 3 costs, I think this fits into a lot of decks. And it's a 3/4 body, right? Like, it doesn't die to just anything, but it's not as good as Ezra. Like,
I would absolutely put this in a Wookiee deck, especially if you need to control the amount of damage that they have. This will help, like, at least keep their health at a safe level where they're not like one shot at the following turn and stuff. Embo can go after some decent units out there and help at least restore some damage up there. I mean, yeah, you do have the what is it, one cost surgical droid that can do kind of the same thing, but this is a little bit stronger, and I think this definitely has a place with the Wookiees.
I'm loving Embo and the fact that he is not villain as a primarily hero player. 3-4, as we said, 3-4 for 3, with an on completion of the attack ability. We have Ezra, and Ezra's amazing for what he does. Embo, I think, is going to be great for what he does. I think he's going to be more helpful in the hero decks, ironically, but I mean, there's going to be a place for him, and as you said, blue yellow villain too.
Yeah, I like it. I do like it. I don't think this is a bad card. I think this is it's a good card. So it's there.
Yeah, it seems okay. Situationally, pretty nice.
Yeah. All right, Luke. Which one do
and
you
speaking of just okay cards, we're not going to talk about a just okay card anymore. we're going to talk about an insanely this is like somebody loves Zuckuss just as much as they love Boba Fett. 5 costs, cunning villain, 6/6. I mean, just there, it's good, right? It's good. That's Lando without his ability was okay with a 6/5 Saboteur, 6/6 Saboteur, and then an extra ability.
Also, Lando costs 6. Zuckuss costs 5.
Correct.
The even crazier part.
Which is even crazier. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like Zuckuss should have been 6 almost. Like, just in general. But he's too good. I feel he's just super undercosted because somebody loves him. Love the duo of Forlom and Zuckuss. They couldn't make them both broken, or else they would break the game.
I am the person who loves Forlom and Zuckuss, so I'm super happy about this.
So this again, though, Luke, you got to admit this does go back to like our Destiny days, right? Like this. This is the end of Destiny.
It's exactly Destiny.
You could run these two people together, and it was a pretty viable deck. So we are. Jeremy, thank you. There you go. Let's just state, Jeremy, thank you for this.
Thank you.
And it's like these are like the most underwhelming characters in the movies for the most part, but they are like one of the most beloved characters whenever it comes to, like just talking about like we do an X-Wing podcast, right? And like just when you talk about X-Wing and different things like that, like we have Forlom and Zuckuss characters. They aren't as good as these two. You just put these two together, like, oh my gosh, like who thought that was a good idea, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Tales of Bounty Hunters, Tales of Jabba's Palace, that old novel series is amazing and made people love these bounty hunters, and it shows. And some people make them for games.
Yeah, so like the gun looks dumb though. I'm just gonna state it. That gun on Zuckuss looks horrible. Like it's like, is it shooting blaster bolts or is it shooting bullets? And if it's
definitely looks like bullets.
If it's shooting bullets, that's a pretty small tube. You know, like those are some pretty thin bullets, right?
It looks like an upside down AUG.
All right,
I was gonna say it does. It does.
Yeah. And then when you look at Forlom,
looks like a World War II.
It looks like somebody took an IG unit and made it into a gun. Like somebody's like, here, let me give you an IG unit gun. Which I hope we get a gun that Forlom gets. Because did we have one of those? What was it called? Oh my gosh, it was the Pulse. Was it the Pulse rifle in Destiny? Is that what that was? Where you have to re-roll that stupid die back in like
every time,
oh
5 times, 10 times.
That was horrible. That gun was broken.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, Brendan, where's Brendan? I need to contact Brendan and be like, hey, did you see this? Anyway, let's move on. Alex,
I get Forlom. He's so fun. I love him. He's a 4/4 for 4, yellow black. He's got ambush. And then each friendly unit named Zuckuss gets +1/+1 and gains ambush.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I guess if there's ever a different subtitle on Zuckuss.
Oh, there will be.
Or a leader,
Right.
eventually.
Zuckuss leader.
I wouldn't be ambushing with it, but
Sure.
that's cool. It's a 4/4 for 4, which is fine. It is a bounty hunter. It has Underworld's energy. It's got ambush. It makes Zuckuss better. You play Forlam for 4 resources. Next turn, you play Zuckuss for 5, and then he's a 7/7 with ambush on a 5 resource. And you just immediately kill their Boba Fett leader.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that these are both also the same artist because it really helps with the cohesion of the cards.
So hyperspace for these are going to be insanely priced. People are going to collect the hell out of the hyperspace for
But they're only uncommon.
Yeah, thankfully they're uncommon.
Right?
But,
Even the most desired hyperspace uncommon is $10, right? Like the wing leaders, the whatever.
Yeah. These feel broken a little bit. Like I guess it's a little bit of a combo-ish, but they do not feel again, thank God that we don't have like something that allows us to smuggle this crap in.
Right.
Because that would just like I don't know. Like I don't even know what you would do with that. But like do you ever never use the ambush on Forlom? It does it's a pointless subtext.
Well, if you have Zuckuss, yes. If you don't, then it's still a 4/4.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
It's like an escort skiff without the requirement.
It's also a droid, by the way, which we haven't seen anything in Villain do anything with droids. So, wish one of the leaders that should be doing something with droids would have done something with droids, but that's another Destiny reference that we'll get to in a few minutes. Let's keep moving.
Are you saying Aphra?
I might or might not be saying Aphra. We will see if that was one of the spoil. It was one of the spoil cards. I'll just say it. All right, let's keep moving on though, because I don't want to cover Aphra yet.
Do it up, JJ.
Yeah. So I'll go with the Desperate Attack. It's a 1-cost red tactic. Reads attack with the damage unit. It gets +2/+0 for this attack. Definitely really good, especially if you're building with a Wookiee deck, and I'm going to reference Wookiees a lot. Really good in grit decks in general, right? You want them to get damaged. They usually have high health. This just gives them an additional buffer to go through. If you manage to get overwhelmed on top of that while they're going through, you're just going to run through a bunch of stuff. So really good, really cheap tactic to give a really good damage buff. And yeah, we'll probably definitely see this card out.
So I have a quick question, Luke. Did you play Destiny from its beginning day?
From its December of 2017 or whatever it was.
So did the power creep happen in set 2, or was it like power creep was never really happened because set 1 and set 2 were just overly insanely powerful? I didn't join.
So I feel like set 2, set 1 was a microcosm. So I feel like every set 1, Star Wars Unlimited, Star Wars Destiny, like in Lorcana, whatever you're talking about, set 1, unless the developers of the game don't care about balance in the slightest, then set 1 is going to be the most balanced. It's got only one set. It's got a limited amount of cards. Set 2, I mean, with force speed in set 2, and with the imbalance of certain characters, Maz Poe, it was more unbalanced at the beginning, I think, than at the end. I mean, that's a hard decision to make too, because by the end that they at least done a restricted list. Nothing was restricted for the first few sets, and so by the end of the game, they had done a restricted list where you can't play more than one card on the restricted list. So if they ever do something like that, like putting a restricted list with Forlom and Zuckuss because they're too powerful together, seems kind of horrible. And that's how Destiny felt at the end, with putting R2 and C3PO and then the thing that allowed R2 and C3PO to be good together, and it had a picture of R2 and C3PO on it, and it just was too good. And so I don't think it was super power rush at the end, which is great. But certain identifiers at the beginning, with including force speed, the zero cost Sith holocron, it made it harder for them to develop the next 3 years, right? Or the next 2 years
Yeah.
of sets.
Well,
And it made it, yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, this card for one cost, I get that, like, I get that you're not playing a unit, but once you hit like 3, 4, 5 resources, a one cost card that lets you do 2 extra damage seems really good. This card seems like broken in draft and sealed, right? Like if you get this card, it just seems like it's just so detrimental.
I have to admit I disagree, but mostly because I feel like the decks that would try to take advantage of this the most, which is that Sabine or IG really speed to damage base deck, I don't feel like they can benefit from it in those ways. I think that the more beneficial places for this card are like what was mentioned in the Wookiee decks or the Grit decks with General Inquisitor or Grand Inquisitor, I mean. But I don't know. Maybe.
All right, well, let's keep moving. It's already 10:30, so we definitely got to keep moving. Who's next? Is it me?
I think it's you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's you.
Well, I'm gonna pick the Bounty Guild Initiative. It's a bounty hunter. It's a 1/2 for one cost. When played, if you control another bounty hunter unit, you may deal 2 damage to a ground unit. It's a common. I think it's a okay card. I don't think it's a great card, but I think it's a decent card. It does have the bounty hunter text, which will play into synergies later on. It is a one cost. That allows you to basically do 2 damage to a ground unit. And I'm happy it says ground unit, not any unit, because that would really be bad if it, like, you could just, for one cost, it would be like, this card is a one cost, deal 2 damage to another unit with a condition. So if you're playing a deck that has a lot of bounty hunters in it, I think this is a decent card to kind of round out that curve. I don't think it's a great card on turn 1, but it's also not the end of the world type card on turn 1 either, right? Like, you can put something down, I don't know. I just, it's like, if I had to pick Greedo versus this, I pick Greedo every time.
Yeah.
But this does also allow you to put bodies on the board that does stop some of the other people that could just ping the 1 damage and kill Greedo, you know. So
If you're really spicy, IG-88 is a bounty hunter, and that will help you clear out units so you can have an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I love
there's a bunch of other bounty hunters, but you know.
Yeah.
they included a one cost unit aspect list in this game in the second set because they didn't have any in the first set. I think it was 2 costs at least. It was the
Underworld something or other.
Underworld,
Thug.
yeah, the Thug.
Yeah, Underworld Thug.
I think there was just a good idea for draft and sealed just to include at least one cost.
Yeah, I like it. Like I said, it's an okay card.
Not
We'll
some
see.
special.
I think there's stuff that might play with it, but right now we don't have anything really.
I don't think grays are supposed to be anything special, so I'm glad that it's not anything special.
All right, Luke, what's the next one?
All right, detention, block, rescue, 3 costs, aggression, not heroism nor villainy, deal 3 damage. Even if you ignore the captured cards, deal 6 instead. It's a 3 costs for 3 damage instead of 3 costs for 4 damage. Yeah, 3 costs for 4 damage is better, but it's got gravy on it, which is awesome. How likely is it that captured becomes a thing that people use in the meta? I don't know, but if it does, this suddenly becomes way better.
I want to know, is Chewbacca like with the stormtroopers? Is like, or are those
Yep.
stormtroopers?
That's Luke and Han
Okay.
Yeah, isn't that Luke and
shooting
Han
out
busting them
shooting out the different cameras and speakers.
Okay. It's like it's just I don't know. Like
Mhm.
for the first time I saw that, I was like, why do they have Chewbacca on this card art? And then but that makes more sense.
And it does kill a cell block guard. They did that right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think it's good. I think capture is probably going to be really strong. I'm not sure if people are going to be playing a lot of capture early on, but in general, in most other card games, those things are kind of good. So it'd be nice that if something's captured, you just do 6 to it. That's a fair amount of damage for that price.
Yeah, I like this card too. I think this is a good card personally. Well, we
Just 3 left.
I got a few left. Yeah,
We got
All
this.
Well, there was like 24 spoilers revealed in a week, so that's why.
So, all right. So I will go on. And so the first thing I'm going to caveat by saying this is we are not going to do our academy training segment tonight. I'm just gonna make a statement because I think the next 3 cards are gonna have enough conversation pieces around them that we're not gonna do that. But we'll see. I will take the showcase card just so nobody else has to. I will just say it looks amazing, and I'm actually really excited by these slide cases that say they're UV protected. What I want to know, Game Genic, is are you going to give me a damn free ones because I bought like how many of those stupid pods? Do I get free UV protected ones, or are the ones I already own already UV protected? That Kylo showcase, not only is this hilarious because I don't know, none of us knew this was coming, but there's Game Genic throwing a Kylo showcase card up where you're like, oh, and if you look at it, you can pretty much guarantee you'll know what Rey's is going to look like, just so we know, because this is some of the artwork that was on the sleeves that we saw.
Sleeves.
So pretty sure the artwork on the sleeves for the Rey will be what her showcase looks like. So if you don't like it, you can pass them on ahead of time. I know a couple of locals that will happily buy your Rey showcases, just so you know. Anybody in Michigan that wants to sell them to local people. I think it's I do kind of like that showcase card. Do I like it better than my Han showcase? No. But do I like it as a showcase? I think it's a cool looking card. I'm more excited for the UV protection piece, personally. All right, who's next? Who gets head hunting? I don't remember where we're at anymore.
I'm next. I got head hunting. It is a 2-cost event, red-black tactic. Attack with up to 3 units, 1 at a time. They can attack bases for these attack. Each bounty hunter that attacks this way gets +2/+0 for this attack, and it's uncommon. And there's the bounty hunter synergy we were waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
And they're on a party bus. This is great.
Yeah.
Bringing it back old school. I mean, it's nice that they can attack bases because that'd be really silly. 3 attacks in 1. But man, if you just have like a line of problem units, this is just like an actual firing squad, which is pretty cool. And it doesn't necessarily say like ground units too. So like if you have some space stuff out there, you can like swing 2 space units into 2 space units and then hit 1 on the ground. Whatever way you want to match it up. I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I would love to run this on IG deck, especially if you have a lot of cheap bounty hunter units out on the board there. You can, if you happen to have more units out than your opponent, then you can get that raid bonus as well. So this can absolutely just be like a really good devastating attack to clear out the board on your opponent's end.
Yeah, and like Greedo is a bounty hunter. And he costs 1, right? And he's 3/1, so you're just reaching with him
5 damage,
which is nuts.
Mm-hmm. It's got drawbacks, but honestly, I don't think the drawbacks are anywhere near its utility. As you said, you could have 1 bounty hunter on the board and just 2 other units. You can still attack 3 times. You can still gain that tempo. You can still clear their board. It's just one of them is going to be really good attack with a +2. Yeah, it's just pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, again, like if your opponent's controlling your board, dead draw, just resource it.
Right.
But if they're like kind of ignoring your units, or they're playing aggro, or they're really, really like set up in Sentinel and not like trying to do too much, you can just start hitting over things. And there's a lot of units in red that have like overwhelm, right? So
Mhm.
like you can actually start outputting a lot of damage into their base. Like, I think it'd be cool. Good way of collecting bounties. I don't think Tanner realizes muted. That's funny. Unless his audio just completely collapsed, which is entirely possible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, his
Cool.
audio just went out. There you go.
All right.
But we'll move on then.
Yeah. Do one of those leaders.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
Can you hear me now?
JJ. Oh, there we go. Now you're ready. Yeah.
Oh,
you're
okay.
good.
So like I was talking the whole time. I thought you were just ignoring me. You're like, oh, I don't like that Tanner guy, so I was gonna ignore what he
no.
was saying.
I don't want to hear what he says.
Nothing good to say, anyways.
I asked if that was gonna make IG-88 better facetiously, and just thought of I just thinking of the whole scenario where you hold that card and you like, I just want to play IG-88, and then everybody just passes until the next churn, and then you just hold the card that kills IG-88, which is now like one in like 20 cards that can kill IG-88 in one churn. So, but let's move on. We're down to the last two, baby, and these two are leaders. So we're getting close to the end of the leader cycle. We officially, technically know all the last two leaders, which I bet you next week we're going to get the next two. The yellow villain one was the secret that we had. I feel a little bit better now because I wanted Maul. I really wanted Maul insanely bad because Maul is one of my son's favorite characters, and it's also kind of one of my favorite characters. And in Destiny, Maul was meh, and my secondary Maul dice just they never held up. You just roll blanks like, oh, well, I'm going to discard this card to re-roll this. Oh, nope, here goes Maul. Maul just does nothing for you because you can't roll the right dice to do anything with. And Maul had like a 2, a 3, a 4 saber or
2
something
and
like
3.
that. Yeah.
1 or 1 2 2 3 or something.
Yeah, like this felt so bad when you rolled the 1.
Like, joke's on you. I was hoping it was Aphra, so I'm happy.
I'm sure you were. I
Nobody
like.
likes
Are
Maul.
you happy,
Garbage
though?
character. Maul's a
Maul-
garbage character.
I love Maul.
You don't even watch Star Wars. You don't.
Yeah, and I watched the one movie he was in, and he was garbage.
Do you even know who Dr. Aphra is? Like, does Dr. Aphra even like? Did you read any of the comics?
No, but I know that I
Okay,
used her in
all
my
right.
last X-Wing list. That was
yeah,
fun.
that's all you. That's all you know. I don't
It
want
was
to hear
great.
it.
I know she's an archaeologist.
JJ, which one are you picking? I'm just gonna mute Alex in a minute.
So I'll go with Finn. So he's a blue leader. His ability is action, tap it, defeat a friendly unit, defeat a friendly upgrade on a unit. If you do, give a shield token to that unit. You can deploy him for 5, and on his deployed side, he does have 4 attack and 6 health, and he reads on attack, you may defeat a friendly upgrade on a unit. If you do, give a shield token to that unit there. Definitely a leader that likes to play with a lot of different upgrades on there. Could have some utility there. There are quite a lot of different upgrades there that can help you like really get an advantage of it. You know, the main thing I could think of is like shoot first, for instance, that could help you. You can put it on there, and then after you attack with that unit, you can defeat it to give it a shield using Finn on there. So there is some synergy in those kind of types of attacks there. Kind of feels a little tough because you're spending your resources for those upgrades to place on them there. But if you're running like a bunch of cheap upgrades, then you should be okay. But again, I mean, it just he wants to help slow the game down, go slow pace there, so that way you can have your side of the board filled with a lot of units there, and that way you can like control the pace of the game that way there. So could see some play there, but kind of feels like the power level is kind of run in the mill just because of the requirement of defeating the friendly upgrade.
I feel like this is it's a great one for anything that deals with tokens, So this would work with, I mean, obviously it's meant to be played with Rose. Rose takes a shield, makes it 2 experience. Finn takes it, one of those experience, makes it shield again. No cost, which is great, right? It doesn't cost you to change it into a shield. It doesn't cost you to change that shield to a 2 experience. It's not the end all be all, but I don't know. I mean, I would definitely play this guy in draft.
Oh, the
I would
4
definitely play
6
the
on
guy.
5 is nuts.
Yeah, he's great.
Mhm.
Solid stats. He can be upgraded, and then he starts dying. You just build a shield on him so he can last on one more shot on whatever you need him to shoot on. It's great.
It is worth noting that it is a friendly upgrade, so you are not killing the bounties that your opponent places on your guy for shields.
That was a question for, just so you know, that was asked. It was like
Yeah.
an actual question that somebody asked in the judges chat, and I was like, "Oh, come on!" Like,
I mean, you
Hmm.
can defeat your own bounty upgrades you put on your
Right.
own guys, but
why would you do that?
it's a
Why-
zero cost bounty. Give yourself a shield. I mean, it's not like the worst,
But don't
especially
when
if they
you
don't have
defeat.
units.
But fair enough. But if you defeat a bounty that's on yourself, your opponent still reaps the rewards of that bounty.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well,
So-
no, if you defeat the bounty itself, like they don't get
Oh.
that. But if you defeat the unit,
Yeah, actually, I don't think defeating a bounty does set off the bounty.
no, you have to defeat
No,
the unit or
You have to
capture
defeat
the unit.
or
So-
capture if you're certain people. Some
I don't.
is it all capture?
All
works
capture. Yep.
on,
Yeah, all
bounty
capture
is
is-
defeat or capture.
That's pretty darn good actually then.
Yeah, capture is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if you want to play your zero cost bounties and they don't really have units or you can't kill them, you could put it on one of your guys and use Finn to turn it into a shield.
hmm I mean, it's cheaper than a 1 cost. Give a unit a shield.
Yeah, I mean you have to play it out of your
Yeah.
hand though, so
Yeah.
hands. But I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
You can do it. It's
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if we get more cards that synergize with Finn. Otherwise, like, he feels like a worse Leia. That's what he feels like to me.
Yeah, I mean,
you got
I'm sure if we
Inspiring
get zero
Mentor.
cost upgrades, then it'll matter. He'll be a little more relevant. And sure, this injury with Rose is pretty strong, but you got to get Rose out on the board first
Right.
to get that. So yeah,
You could give him Inspiring Mentor and just pretend that he's Luke unit or Luke leader
exactly.
because they're both on attack triggers, so you can give him experience, then defeat the experience, and give him a shield.
he needs the Ray version of that though, because yeah.
All right. Well, Luke, you get the final one, the new leader, the yellow black leader, and what I would encourage you to do is tell us what the Destiny card did first, because there's a conversation that's got to go into this one, because I'm very confused why we didn't at least am I going to get a BT1 and am I going to get a 000? That's what I want to know. Like,
sure you
AMG
will.
or FFG, if you please just tell me next week. I just want to know next week. Do I get 000? Do I get BT1?
100% are going to get her droids.
Yeah.
And
You're gonna
is it going to be good enough to play Forlam and Zuckus in her deck so I can play the droids and all this other
just
crazy
for
stuff?
droids.
That's what I want to know. Yes.
It's true. So Dr. Aphra, she's an archaeologist, as Alex said, but she's also rapacious, which, is another thing that Alex knows about her. And probably the only 2 things.
From the descriptions I was given about her.
For me, I mean, looking at the 5 cost Dr. Aphra and the 5 cost Boba Fett of the same aspects, of the same abilities, I keep looking at her and saying, yeah, she's a rare. You're probably going to have to finagle her a little bit, but I just don't see anywhere where she gets playability that Boba has.
All right,
or
let's
even-
read the cards
Sorry,
first.
read the card.
Read the
When the
cards and let's
regroup-
discuss it.
When the regroup phase starts, discard a card from your deck. So, hey, bonus, you can include more cards in your deck if you want. While there are 5 or more different costs among cards in your discard, this unit gets +3/+0. And when deployed, choose 3 cards in your discard pile with different names. If you do, return one of them at random to your hand. I mean, obviously, there has to be something with her droids that are going to require you to have discarded cards. Um, yes, she can go with those things that require discarded cards, right? You want discarded, as we mentioned earlier, like big units for big force units for this, that, or the other thing. I just don't see where the interactions are going to happen in this next set. I think this is going to be a sleeper card, if anything. And it might not even be a thing in 3 sets, but yeah, she'll do something with her droids. I just don't know what that is.
Yeah, what if BT1's like every time you discard a card, do 1 damage to a ground unit or something? You know,
Right.
That would fit with her Destiny
Hmm.
deal. So I will say on a positive or negative thing, like if you think about it, if she's playing units, right, and you're killing units or you're using her units to kill things, and let's just say you do one a round, then you have round 3, 4. You're getting 2 extra cards, plus you have 3 discards. So you have 5 cards possibly in that discard pile for her to come out on turn 5 to give her to make her a 5/5/5 unit, right? You know, like a 5/5/5 unit is not a bad leader unit. Like you're right though, it's like Boba is this curve cost comparison, and I even think Boba hero is pretty good for his cost, but I wouldn't scoff at the 5/5/5 either. Like especially when she comes out, like that's still a pretty heavy hitter. She can do different things. There is other pieces like surprise strike. There is what was the other card we talked about too that like can give her a bunch of other crazy stuff. I I don't know. Like
I
I
just
want her to
don't
be
think
good.
she's played for her unit side in general. She's played for her when deployed thing, sure. But you're not going to deploy this girl if you have 2 cards in your discard. It's not a good idea. And she's just not worth it.
yeah, she really heavily depends on what else comes out in the set, right? If there's a lot more discard card interaction, like in other card games where like your discard pile is essentially like your second hand, right? If this game starts turning closer to that, she's going to be a lot better. Just because she is self-milling, so you have a whole bunch more options available to you in your discard pile. But, it really depends on what cards come out in this set, which is kind of a cop-out, but, like, it is a fact.
Yeah.
So I like this card. I think I will say I think that the showcase card for this is going to look really cool. And like we know what month it is, right? Like it's Pride month, and she's an LGBTQ character, and like so like there is some synergy here. And I will say, like, if you've never read the Dr. Aphra comics, like I would highly recommend that you do that. Like I think they even have a canonical like all in one book that you can
omnibus.
An omnibus.
That's what that's called.
Okay. Then I sure I don't know, but yeah. So like it's her comics and of themselves are really good, and like I'll be honest with you, like because she's a character that like to me when she came out, she was a character that kind of like eulogize or emphasize what Star Wars has morphed into, right? Like we had a very white ciscentric thing in the 70s, and Star Wars has worked very hard to be more inclusive, to understand where its biases come from and all these things. And Dr. Aphra was a great character because not only was she part of a minority community, she also came out and was kind of like towing that line between villain and hero, like very aggressively. Like what I would love to see is how she can interact with the Vader unit. Like that's what I want to know. Is like, how do I get her to interact with the Vader unit? Do we get a second Vader unit this set that we just don't know about? I think there's at least a couple more legendaries that have not been spoiled. Do we get a second Vader unit?
If you surprise strike with her, she kills a Vader leader.
There you go. That's even
if
funnier.
she has 5 different costs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, what Vader leader
think-
comes out, you probably do.
I think the second Vader unit and the second Luke unit are going to be rares if we get them, and I don't think they're going to be legendaries. And then I think the second mall unit's going to be a legendary. FFG is really good about doing that in Destiny, where if something's unattainable financially, they're going to make a different one. It might not be, the same exact thing, and that's why I love that they made Maul just as amazing as he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chewie, rare. Amazing, though.
Awesome. Well, anyway, I think that kind of concludes our show. I will apologize. I really wanted to go through the deck. It's almost 11 o'clock, and like some of me wonders if a 3-hour episode is worth the value of that we could put out at this point in the night. So I will apologize. I will say we got to cover. I'm excited by Aphra for the pure fact that like we get something back from Destiny and we get to kind of retake a little bit of that. And it's not like, I mean, I won't lie and say when we got her in X-Wing, it was a pretty, to me, it was a kind of a bigger deal because it's like, oh, look, they gave us this character that never drove a party bus ever. And this does give me hope that we're going to get an
Her ship's
Archangel.
too big for X-Wing, that's why.
Fine, sure. But, I mean, they gave us a gauntlet, right? Like,
Which took up half the table.
they could have given us an Archangel. I mean, we could have gotten it. Archangel. Did I say Archangel? Anyway, now it's getting late. Now it's getting late, folks. But I am excited for this. I will say I'm hesitant on Aphra, but I think that was kind of the same way in Destiny when Aphra came out. There wasn't like an immediate, oh my gosh, this is broken. There's a lot of crazy stuff. It took a little while to build into Aphra.
That's true.
But I will tell you, FFG, if you don't give us 000 and BT1 in this set, we got to have some conversations, baby. So Xander, we'll be calling you. We're going to call you directly and be like, hey, man, what in God's green earth did you do? Like, why are we not getting these things?
He'll be like, I was working on Marvel Champions at the time. What are you talking to me about?
Fair enough. That's actually a good game. Did you play Marvel Champions?
Oh, I love it. I got into it when I read about this game and how shields worked, and I was like, where'd they get that idea? And somebody was like, oh, Marvel Champions. And I was like, I thought that was a miniatures game. And they're like, nope. And I was like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah, we bought in the day, or not the day, but basically like within the first 3 months of it coming out, which was ironically when Destiny was starting to end. But,
yeah.
You know, we bought into it then, and like my son and I play that. We don't play it all the time anymore. When it first came out, we played it quite a bit. Like we played it like a lot. And like we have some homebrew stuff. So there you go, JJ. Like there's some like JJ's the homebrew guy for our podcast. Like JJ likes the homebrew stuff. He's already working on some homebrew X-Wing type stuff that he wants to vomit into the universe. And
try to create a car pack, man.
But we did the same thing because they had this thing called the Wrecking Crew, and it had like 3 different characters. And I don't know if you played the Wrecking Crew, but they're not very hard to beat.
Not yet.
Yeah, it's not very hard to beat at all. And we got pissed off, so we created our own Wrecking Crew where we took 3 other villains and did the same synergy piece. And yeah, we realized why you don't do that the first time we played it, because like we just got wrecked, like it was hands down, like upturned wrecked. And and by the way, don't ever give the extra. There's like you get these extra like side things that you can add to different villains. Do not ever give Goblin Venom the Infinity Gauntlet. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Just trust me. I'm the guy that said, "Hey, let's play expert and let's put Infinity Gauntlet on Goblin Venom." And that was my son will never let me hear. I guarantee you. I can if he ever listens to this, the next day I'm gonna get a text saying, "Yep, I told you." You know, like I told you that was a stupid thing, because like he said this is dumb, and then we played it and I was like, it'll be okay. And no no it was bad.
I'm a huge X-Men guy, so when all the X-Men stuff was out is when I got in, like past October, and I've been keeping up with the new stuff too. And I don't even think I've played anything except Spider-Man and Captain America, or not Captain Marvel, because that's not X-Men, because I've played so much of the X-Men stuff and I haven't gotten to the other like core box stuff other than the starter decks that I played with my then girlfriend, now fiance. We're learning the game.
Well, maybe if I come out east, we can do like a Marvel Champions night. So like I like to do these sessions where we play like a whole campaign all the way through in one sitting in one night.
Yeah.
We get pizza and then your choice of libations, and we don't do anything but play the 5 to 6 scenarios, and we literally start at whatever time I get there, and we play until like we pass out on the floor.
Done.
And that's what we do. So
I've been almost convincing all my D&D group on Thursday night to let's do like just one campaign of Marvel Champions, and some people are so super in. I don't know if I'll get all of them, but
Quality Star Wars Unlimited podcast content.
oh yeah.
This is what happens when you let Tanner go on vacation for 4 days and then he comes back and we got a guest host who we share a lot in common with. So like I don't know what to tell you, Alex. Like this is on you, buddy. This is on you.
Thanks for having me tonight.
Yeah. So Luke, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you on, and you're welcome back if you would like to come on other times. Just let Alex know we can make it happen, baby. We can make it happen.
All right. Appreciate it.
With that being said, we will be back next week with another unlimited podcast of Star Wars Unlimited, and we will probably be doing our X-Wing podcast. I have to work with JJ and Alex to kind of see how we want to do that. Do we want to do like a big production? Do we want to kind of do a closing chapter? How we want to do it? We are going to do one. I just was not prepared. I was not prepared. I will just admit I was not prepared for the news on Thursday. So I was on vacation and I was struggling, and I was having a really hard time processing as an individual. So after spending a weekend with a lot of amazing folks and talking through my feelings, which drunk Chris does sometimes, we're holding off, and we're gonna do something in proper memoriam for X-Wing. So, but with that being said, we will be back next week with another amazing episode of Planning Phase Syndicate. Thank you all for joining us. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the flippity flop.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening.